Let's talk about the political side of this for a moment. We'll continue to monitor what's coming out from the jury with these 4 points that they want and the testimony that they want to be reread. President Trump has had this for 6 weeks now, and his numbers haven't been hurt by any of it. Do you think they could be potentially by even a verdict? I mean, I'm just not so sure this trial, as important as it is, I mean, you could have a conviction of a former president, how important it'll be to the campaign we're in the middle of. What's your sense?
I think for his base, no matter what happens, they're going to be energized.
Yeah.
His opponents, similarly. I think this is all, as we've talked about for months now, a fight over the middle. I think a guilty conviction is going to hurt him with independents, especially folks who care about national security, especially folks who are tracking on the other trials, and folks who just want stability. So I think for those folks who aren't partisans, who don't have a party affiliation, who just want to see a president come in and kind of simmer the temperature down and bring some stability, a convicted felon is not going to do that. And I think it's going to hurt him with those folks, especially in key swing states like we continue to talk about Michigan, Arizona, places like that.
Well, President Biden has his own issues with his base. I mean, he has this event today, and they're launching this campaign. He and the vice president try to bring the black vote back. They've been losing some of that vote, obviously still leading, but not by as much, right? So they're trying to do that. But I think to your point, and what you and I talk about all the time, it's not necessarily a group that you break down by gender or race that the president needs to be worried about. It's just independents in general. I mean, the new numbers that came out, we can put them up, are not good. For independents. What's going on for President Biden?
I think there's a lot of people who want none of the above, and they see Biden continue to struggle. And Biden's kind of getting hit from all sides. He's getting hurt with his own progressive base. He's getting hurt with moderate Republicans. He's getting hurt with independents who don't like that he's old or that he's got Kamala Harris as a VP. There's no shortage of reasons. And I think he's continued to kind of get chipped away from different sides. And he doesn't look like he's getting stronger. He doesn't look like he's getting any younger. And we're all building toward this debate on June 27th where we'll see them side by side and we'll be faced with a choice. I think the reality is most Americans don't want either of them.
Right.
And they're continuing to express that in different ways, and they're going to continue to express that all the way to the polls in November.
But funny enough, I don't know if you agree, but the onus is on Biden in many ways. Once we get past this conversation about Trump and this trial, that, again, it's important, but will people change their mind about Trump based on what happens here? I don't know, but they might change their mind about Biden and his ability to serve another 4 years based on June 27th. They might.
I think, we think about in the veterans community a lot the commander-in-chief test.
Right.
Are you ready to be commander-in-chief? Are you ready to lead our military? Can you do it if you're a convicted felon? Can you do it if your health is not good? They're both going to stand up there side by side, and it's going to be like a prize fight. We're going to size them up. How do they look? I think that's what most Americans are going to look at first. Do they look healthy? Do they look strong? Do they look clear? Do they look like they can run the free world?
Yes.
That's really what we're asking for in the midst of all this other drama. Who can stand up in front of our nation's military especially and lead with confidence? I think that's going to be the big test.
Fitness, more so a feeling than necessarily issues, although, and right in your wheelhouse that we talk about foreign policy, especially the war. I know you're involved now with Ukraine a lot and veterans trying to help out over there, but also the war in Israel. That has not been helping this president. And, in terms of domestic politics, it's almost like he has no good options or doesn't feel like he does politically. Does he?
I don't think he does, but I think it's a dynamic environment and it feels like the whole world is on fire. And we need a commander-in-chief who can keep up with it. Yeah. We're looking at both these guys to see if they can keep up with Gaza, keep up with Ukraine, keep up with the border, keep up with the protests. And also, after this trial verdict comes in, I think an important point is who sets the tone? Who's going to turn the volume up? Who's going to bring it down? I think all of us, especially on television and the media, have to keep people calm, ask people to show respect no matter where you stand on this issue. And that's a climate we all need to kind of communicate in this next couple of months, which are sure to be chaotic and stressful and full of chaos.
But so far, so good. I mean, there have been some strange moments. Robert De Niro was down here yesterday. There are a few protesters in the park behind us, but so far, so good here in New York to the point that you started with. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.